Good evening, friends. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday afternoon. I hope all of you mothers out there have been having a very happy and blessed Mother's Day. I hope all you fathers and children have been showing the mothers to a very happy and blessed Mother's Day. We are very thankful for our mothers, and they do such a good work getting us started off in life and taking care of us. And it's good to show that love in return. So hopefully you've been thinking about that today. You've been doing that. Perhaps even you got to spend some time with your mother today. Now, if you were able to join us this morning, you know that I had a lesson that had connection to that in regards to Timothy, and how his grandmother and mother had gotten him started off on the right track, teaching him about their faith and implanting the Holy Scriptures into him and teaching him to be a servant. If you missed that this morning, it's on our Facebook page, and you can go back and watch that. And if you did join us this morning, either in person or online, I hope that you would also go back, if you have Facebook, and share those with your friends and family members. And hopefully someone else can find a blessing in that message from this morning. Now, as far as the thought goes for this evening, I was able to go with Sadie. She had her first field trip this week, and for their first field trip, they went to the Nashville Zoo at Grassmere, and we traveled through the zoo and checked out all the animals. And one of the cool things that we were able to do is we went into a little exhibit area where the kangaroos were, and you could learn a little bit about the kangaroos, and they're just kind of out there hopping around where you're at. You stay on a little path, but you can actually pet the kangaroos. And so Sadie and her classmates were able to do that, and that's a pretty cool little experience. And I've always thought that kangaroos are a very interesting animal. I like them. I've read some about them in the past. But it just so happens that after we came home, I was looking through some emails and some various different articles that I try to read every week, and I saw a very interesting article about the kangaroo. Now, as I read this, I want you to think about this. If you look at this universe that we live in, this world that we live in, and the complexity of this world demands that there must be a creator behind it, because there's no way that the things that we see around us could happen by accident. Let me read you a little bit of some amazing facts about the kangaroo. Kangaroos are among the most unique creatures on our planet. The word kangaroo stems from the Aboriginal word that means, or word gangaroo, that was used to describe the gray kangaroo. Today, the name kangaroo or roo encompasses all species of kangaroos, wallabies, and wallaroos. The adult male kangaroo is called a buck, boomer, or a jack. An adult female is a doe, a flyer, or a Jill. The young kangaroos are joeys, and a group of kangaroos is called a mob. Fossils in Australia tell us that Australia once had kangaroos that were up to 10 feet tall and weighing around 500 pounds. Today, the red kangaroo is the world's largest marsupial at 6 feet and 200 pounds. In addition, they can run at nearly 40 miles per hour, bounding as far as 25 feet. Their strong tails are used for balance when hopping, or as fifth limbs when grazing. Oddly, kangaroos can't move backwards or move their hind legs independently on land, but when swimming, they can kick each leg separately. All kangaroos are herbivores, and those living in drier regions need a little water. But these vegetarians can be deadly. Their powerful hind legs with long, sharp toenails are a very dangerous weapon. With one kick, kangaroos can disembowel their opponents. So kind of a strange and deadly fact, I guess. The doe kangaroo can mate and become pregnant directly after the joey is born. But the development of that pregnancy will be suspended until the first baby kangaroo is either lost or leaves the pouch. This means a female kangaroo can have 3 babies at the same time: an older joey living outside the pouch, a young one in the pouch, and an embryo on hold awaiting birth. Then, amazingly, the doe will develop 2 different kinds of milk, one on each side, to feed her 2 offspring: a high-fat milk for the younger joey in the pouch, and a high carbohydrate milk for the older joey. Now, you think about those facts, especially those last bits about the birth of kangaroos and about their reproduction. That is just, to me, it's amazing. And for anyone to think that something like that could just happen on accident, how would you ever get to that point? The fact of the matter is, you would never get to that point without a creator behind it. When Paul wrote to the Christians or the saints at Rome, in chapter 1, verses 18 through 20, he says, "For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men, who by their unrighteousness suppress the truth. For what can be known about God is plain to them, because God has shown it to them. For his invisible attributes, namely his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly perceived ever since the creation of the world in the things that have been made, so they are without excuse." Friends, if we can travel about our lives, you do it as you go this next week. Let's look at the nature growing around you, things that happen in the spring. If we can look at those things and we can see those things, then we can recognize that there must be a creator behind it. And that causes us to have all kinds of questions. Who could that creator be? And I'm telling you, there's not a better choice than the God of the Bible, because there is no other choice. And if there's a creator, and it's the God of heaven, and he's behind all these things, then that tells us that there's an eternity, and that everything that he says is true. In Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 7, Solomon wrote, "And the dust returns to the earth as it was, and the spirit returns to God who gave it." Friends, we ought to go through our lives looking at the things that are going on around us, recognizing there must be a creator behind it, and that also demands that there is something other than us here on earth, and that there's something that's going to happen after this life. Our spirit's going to return to God for the judgment, and he's going to determine where we are headed for eternity. That should be the driving force behind our lives. We should live our lives like we know that we are going somewhere for eternity, and that we want that somewhere to be the good place. I just pray that you'll take these thoughts with you as you go into the rest of this week, go into the rest of your life, live your life knowing that there's something other than what you're doing here on this earth, and there's something that's much more grand that's waiting for those that serve God. Thank you, and I just pray that you have a blessed week.